Hi, I'm Sean, and there's no Dave right now. Hopefully he shows up. Here with Alex.
Hello.
And this is Barstools Bandtalk. And about, I'm going to say 3 weeks ago, our good friend Junior LeClerc, who did the Phil Naro tribute, and we've had him on the show before, introduced me to this band, and I thought, you know what? The name alone says we have to get them on the show. This is a band out of the Barrie, Ontario area called Barstool's Confessions. It's Barstool's Confessions.
Yep.
And we got Buck and Brian that are coming on. They sent me some of their stuff. They have an EP that was out, and not going to lie, I was pleasantly surprised. So without further ado, we're going to have Buck and Brian from Barstool's Confessions.
Your voice is really good today.
Well, gentlemen, welcome. We caught you at a nice, easy, laid-back moment there. How you doing tonight?
Good.
So far, so good.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
Good, gentlemen. Everything's great.
So, your friend and mine, Junior LeClerc, introduced me to you guys. And the name alone was like, oh, we got to have you on the show. I mean, Barstools and Bandtalk, your name was perfect. Tell us about your relationship with Junior and give us a little background on your band.
Well, yeah, our band started back in 2018, and it was some of us had already been in music in our life. Brian's been playing forever. I started in my 20s, but a lot of us took, I can't speak for Brian, but I took about a 26, 27-year hiatus from music because I focused on my other career and kids. And then the other guys in our band, Paul Jr. and Biscuit, we just kind of got together as a garage band and thought, let's have some fun and play some music. And then it just kind of just started going. The wheel just started spinning real fast. We had another bass player at the time, Brian Flindell. And we started playing, your typical play the backyard parties, play, whatever we could. Then we had an opportunity to open for Lee Aaron. We were one of the opening acts. There's 4 openers. We were probably opener number for Packed House and show them what we could do. And we started as a cover band. Everybody starts as a cover band, I think, in many cases. And over the last, when the pandemic hit, well, I should go back a little bit. Then we met Brian. Brian was friends with our drummer since childhood. And it was just time to move to the next level. Brian's an amazing bass player. And
I was able to for some gigs that were scheduled, like at the Rock Pile.
Yeah, our other bass player couldn't be there. And then it just kind of morphed into what it is. And, we've just been having a great time, and we've been very fortunate. We have the studio to work out of and our own rehearsal space. And then we just pandemic hit, we were just starting to get into lots of gigs and enjoying life. And then
regularly playing at the bar.
Yeah, we kind of got a regular gig at a regular bar in town and playing in the GTA, the Toronto area. And then pandemic hits, and we took a good 3-month, 4-month hiatus, didn't see each other in the early pandemic last year. And then got back into gigs last summer. Then we hit the pandemic close down again near Christmas. And it was just kind of like, hey, let's move to the next level and start recording our own music. And I had the writing bug, so just started writing lyrics and putting it together, and then giving it to the guys, and they came up with their parts, and that's what you ended up hearing was our EP that was released in April. So that's kind of a real.
So it's interesting. This pandemic, I mean, our show came out of the fact that we were looking for something to do. I mean, we were bored as everybody else was. And now here we are over a year later. We got over 160 interviews. You mentioned Lee Aaron. We've had her on the show. We've had Darby Mills. The list goes on. But it's interesting. We always talk about, if people were sitting around doing nothing, feeling sorry for themselves, they were going to get left behind, because when things opened up again, if you weren't getting better at what you were doing and trying to, put something out there, you're going to be in trouble. Did you guys find that as kind of, because as you said, you kind of just get the writing bug and went, is that something that maybe you guys found while that was going on?
Well, I think so. I mean,
the bug's always been there. Buck's got a lot of great ideas, and, he would throw different things out in different jams, but because we were, building the sets bigger for the gigs, right? And depending on the type of gig that we were actually doing and how much time we needed, all of a sudden, 1 or 2 originals come up, but there was no we're not sitting down really hammering the writing down. And then all of a sudden, pandemic, and all of a sudden, 1 song turned into 2, into 3, into 4, and then into 5, and then up to 7, 8, 9, 10, and good ones. And then we actually took the time to actually do the cover tunes for the live. So
Yeah,
actually had time.
it was definitely for me. I mean, being in a band back in my late teens, early 20s, I wanted to make it. I mean, everybody wants to make it when they play music, I think. And my career, which ended up taking up the last 25 years, was supposed to be a backup to music, because our manager at the time said, you guys need to go to school and get an education in case, you might have a hit record today, but be playing smoky bars tomorrow with nobody there. So, but my old band, we all just kind of went our separate ways after we started focusing on our careers. So I always wanted to, I like playing cover tunes. I think we all do. Like, it's fun to play cover tunes, but there's something more special about writing and creating something that somebody else feels. And it, even in a dream world, what would be better is with the music we created and chose to start doing, to play it for a full house and see people sing your music back to you. God, what a dream that is. Like, in a dream that, I'm never going to quit pursuing. I mean, we're older guys. We're all 50 and above, but I feel like I'm 25 in my heart, so I'm not willing to not keep trying. There's a little glimmer of hope that maybe someday we'll get discovered and be playing stadiums. But you got to dream or you won't get where you need to be.
It's
No,
still fun. That's,
and it's a very good point because. No, I was going to say it's a very good point because you nailed something there. I mean, you do your own stuff, but we've talked to a lot of people and guys that play cover tunes. Sometimes I don't think get enough respect because to play your own stuff, that's you. To play cover tunes, you got to basically be good at playing a bunch of different styles, a bunch of different bands, and have people respect it. So, did you find that maybe? Because your story sounds very similar to a band that I was part of that we moved to Toronto and did the same thing. Did you find that maybe helped with your sound when you guys were putting together your originals?
Yeah, I think so. I will say something for Brian.
I get one. Yeah.
I'll give Brian this much. When Brian came to the band, Brian is very much, it's December, right? Is that where you say we got to go to either?
Yeah.
So we play December we do a cover of December by A Collective Soul. And I've always said, even before Brian joined the band, I don't want to be a cover band where people walk out saying, man, they did an okay job of that song, or they did a really bad job of that song. What I want people to do is leave and say, the version of that song they did is really cool.
Their arrangement was really well.
So we're a cover band, but we really want our music to sound like our band playing the other band's song, not a tribute band. And that's what, and we used to have our debates because he'd say, well, we're supposed to drop to E there. And I'd say, well, we don't play E there. We just play it our own way. So, I mean, we've kind of found a balance, but I think definitely really focus, like, hey, we really put our work into our cover music to make it as good as we can and as tight as we can. So that definitely, I think, melts into the creation of our own music, was to create music that grabbed people and had ebbs and flows and wasn't just a da, 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 the whole time. We wanted to, as Brian would say, breathe.
That's right.
Yeah. So we want our music to breathe and have its ups and downs and ebbs and flows. And we're really lucky too, because not only did we write pretty quick and all of us really got into it, but we had a producer help us. That's an amazing producer, Michael Jack, who has produced for Rush, The Trues, Big Sugar, Anne Murray, like all kinds of different musicians, worked with Bono. So he really was able to take, like, Hold Your Ground. A lot of that is our creation, but him putting some creative spin on it too, that just made us sound that much better.
And plus it's always good when somebody outside listens to your stuff that has a wide open ear, hasn't got the saturation level of hearing it 2 million times, or you start overthinking, getting too creative. Whereas somebody that comes in and hears it for the first time, they can suggest something, or they hear something tonally, and it's like, yeah, that's great, because we heard it and lost it numerous ago.
As you can hear, my voice is a wee bit raspy, because I spent 6 months singing so damn much. If I wasn't singing here, I was singing over and over again at home and in the car. And now I'm I had to go see an ENT, and I might have small nodes, and now I'm back into speech therapy. And so, I mean, I overdid it, and, but it was such a passion, and it was an amazing feeling to do that.
No, for sure. You touched on something, and we're going to go to a break here in a second, but you touched on something that, Brian, when you talked about bringing, and Buck, you did too, bringing somebody else in to listen to it. I had the fortune of a gentleman by the name of Marty Anderson, who was playing with Rick Emmett at the time. We were recording in Toronto, and you would do a take, and you would think that it was great. And then Marty, the guy that played with Randy Cook, you know what? Yeah. And but it was always done in a respectful manner where you kind of felt like you had your best interests at heart. It's safe to say that's what Mike brought to the table for you guys.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to our, I know they're not popular anymore, but ballads. If you listen to our ballad "Meet Again," it was, well, first of all, it was written about a friend who lost his wife. It just came to me in one night. Actually, wasn't even supposed to be on the EP, but a friend lost his wife at a very young age, and it just hit me how he'd go home to an empty house, and that song came about losing somebody, and you'll see them again on the other side. And we recorded that, and we put it on the EP. And actually, Michael Jack said that's got to go on, kick the other one off. And because it's moving, everybody can relate to that song. But at the end of that song, he made me take my vocals higher, and that was just something I wouldn't have thought of doing. So those are great things when you have
Like a
somebody
really
like
good,
that.
simple suggestion that, well, somebody with more experience, the outside ear, hey, try this.
Yeah.
Know? And it wasn't like do this. It was, well, try this. Give me a take of this so we can see how it sounds. So it's like it was always good.
Yeah, great experience.
All right, guys. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take our first quick break. We're going to pay some bills because we like to do that so we can keep the lights on. I'm going to flip back, and when we do, want to talk about this EP because, like I say, I had the opportunity to hear the whole thing. So we'll cover that when we're back after this.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.